Welcome to subramani.com. Please click on the bell icon. You know the stuff, right? The topic is if I died tonight, what would my family do? When people come to sell insurance, they actually do not know how much insurance you need, right? So they try to give you some figure, 10 times your annual income, and things like that. That's one way of doing it, is to say, yeah, okay, I don't know how much insurance I need, so 10 times my annual income looks good. I have a 20 lakh annual income, so I'll take 2 crores. Or I have a 10 lakh annual income, so I will take 1 crore. That's okay. But there could be two people earning 20 lakhs and spending very differently. Let us take a guy whose father is rich, and out of the 20 lakhs, well, most of the money goes into his bank or his own lifestyle. He doesn't pay rent, stays with his father, doesn't pay for food, and that's fine. That's how he is. He is about to get married, or he just got married. His wife also comes from, say, similar background, and they are both rich. Their parents are rich. So do they really need insurance? Well, I wouldn't think they need insurance, but however, if they buy assets, if he buys a 2 crore house or he buys a 3 crore house and he takes a loan, then maybe he needs insurance. However, take the same person or take a similar person, maybe his classmate who's earning 20 lakhs, which is not bad for a 30-year-old, but he's supporting his parents. He's a younger brother who's just about finishing his studies. He's got a younger sister whose marriage he will have to sponsor. And he has to look after these 4-5 people who are dependent on him. He's about to get married to a girl who's also slightly middle class or lower middle class, let's call it. And her parents also could depend on her at some stage because she doesn't have any other children, she doesn't have any other sibling. Now, the insurance requirement for the two of them, the first rich guy and the second not so rich guy, 20 lakhs earner can't be a poor guy. So let's call him not so rich guy, has got to be very different. The question to ask is, what should your life insurance do for you, right? A, it should pay off all your debts. Your wife should be able to tell your children your 5th birthday was in a 5-star hotel, your 6th birthday will also be in a 5-star hotel. Your wife should be able to make a choice of what lifestyle to need, right? She should not be forced to take up a job. Your children can't afford to lose one parent to death and other parent to a full-time job. It's very difficult for the kids to cope up with that. I mean, take a young kid, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, he's got his mother staying with him most of the time, or both parents staying with him for some of the time, right? All those combinations work. Now you're a single parent, and you have to look after the kid, you have to look after your finances, and the burden of a single parent is pretty high. Along with that, if you throw in employment, it's very difficult. Second, you don't want your father or your brother or your father-in-law to decide on her lifestyle. If she's got used to living in a 3-bedroom hall kitchen, she will continue to live in a 3-bedroom hall kitchen. Don't push her to a different location, a different house, because the house got repossessed. So what all should your insurance do? What insurance to buy, we will talk separately. But what all should your insurance do? Your insurance should pay off all your loans, period. No negotiation on that. Whether you have a business loan, whether you have a house loan, a home mortgage, whether you have a car loan, whether you have any kind of a loan, if you have a personal loan, all that should get paid off immediately without any stress. And for this, please don't take a loan insurance where the amount goes to the company which gave you the loan. That is completely useless. I will talk about it separately. Take an insurance where all the money comes to your wife. I'm assuming that she can handle it. If you're not very confident of how she can handle it, write down. Tell her that if I died tonight, what should you do? And that document should be changed and revised every 3-4 years, because kids grow up. If you have an 18-year-old today and you die after 5 years, he's 23, maybe he's just about to take up a job, or he's already taken up a job, right? So that those things will change. So if your kids want to study in an Ivy League school, if your wife should retire into the same comfort which you have provided now, and without having to take up a job. Now the question is, what happens if you over-insure? Don't over-insure also. Ensure that your wife and children are able to live the similar life at least for 10-12 years. Longer for your wife because she's young, if she's only 32 when you died at 32 or 33. Obviously she has to live till 100, so she has to have enough money for the next 60-70 years. Yes, but if you provide for 10-15 years max, by the time she would have figured out what to do, she may have taken up a job, she can always get back into the job market. She may have quit the job just for 2-3 years. Yes, it could be very difficult to get back into a competitive job market, or a 35-year-old to be competing with 23-year-olds. But yes, she will be able to find her way back after 2-3 years after looking after the kids. Possible, right? But it should not be forced upon her. She should not have to desperately take, right? So if you have a standard of living which includes 2 cars and annual vacations, etc., you may not be able to protect everything, but still provide for a reasonable standard of living, your current standard of living, protect it with term insurance. The question to ask is not what happens to your family 10 years from now, or 7 years from now, or 5 years from now. The question to ask is, what would my family do if I were to die tonight? So what all do you need to do? Of course you need to take term insurance, there's no doubt about that. Apart from that, you need to equip your family to manage all these finances, right? Bank accounts, demat accounts, mutual funds, insurance claims, medical insurance, knowing who's the agent. So you need to create something like a handover document and explain it to your wife and children. I'm assuming that if your children are less than 14 years, they won't understand. But the minute your kids are 13, 14, even 12, they understand these concepts. You at least tell them where it is, how you written down. Make a Word document, share your chartered accountant's number, your IFA's number, introduce them. All this is important. Managing the money when you are not around is not just about money. It is about money, it is about allocating, it's about knowing which insurance to take, which insurance not to take, and not getting cheated. Who are the advisors to speak to, what each advisor will do. Your wife may know that you have a chartered accountant for income tax return filing, but she may not know who is the person for investing advice, right? So if you have a dentist, she knows why you go to a dentist for, but if you have an IFA, she may not know what is his role. Explaining the role, explaining the documentation, knowing why you have brought all these assets, which asset is for which goal, for your daughter's Ivy League education, for your son's Ivy League education, or whatever. I'm just throwing Ivy League because that's the amount which would be the maximum. Right? Doing all these things and taking term insurance, combination is necessary. You cannot just do one and hope the other things will fall in place. Everything has to be done by you today, because the question to ask is, what would your family do if you were to die tonight? Thank you.